There is a popular subreddit on social news and discussion website Reddit named Too Afraid to Ask. It is a forum where anonymous people ask and seek answers to questions that they are usually too afraid to ask, generally because most know about them and asking about it in public is met with the usual condescending taunts. In regard to India, there is one such burning question that is at the back of everyone's head, but no one is brave enough to ask it as it risks destroying the secular fabric of the country, according to some distinguished left liberals. The question is, who are the minorities in India? Hi and welcome to TFI English, the national socio-political analysis arm of the TFI Media Group. I'm your host Apurva, and before we continue with the video, I ask you this question: how do we define minority in India? On Tuesday, Assam Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sarma, known for openly speaking his mind during a debate on the governor's address in the budget session of the Assam Assembly, pondered upon this particular question. Sarma gave the example of Assam and remarked how Muslims were no longer a minority. Muslim population consists 35% of the total population of the state. There is no need to encroach the land of tribal people residing in the 6 scheduled areas. If Das, Kalita, Burman, Gogoi, Sutia have not settled on their lands, Islam and Rahman must also refrain from settling in those lands. The Chief Minister further said that power comes with responsibility, and as Muslims constitute 35% of Assam's population, it is their duty to protect the minorities here. He said, "We Hindus are minority, but Muslim population in Assam is over 1 crore. You are the largest community. Being the largest community in the state today, it is your responsibility to maintain communal harmony. Responsibility has shifted towards you." Drawing parallels with the Kashmiri Hindus who were forced to flee their homes, CM Sarma said, "People ask me if Assamese people will face the same fate as Kashmiri Pandits. It is the duty of Muslims to allay our fear. Muslims must behave like a majority and give us assurance that there will be no repeat of Kashmir here." It is pertinent to note that Hindus are minorities in 8 Indian states. Muslims are a majority in Lakshadweep, Kashmir, and there is a significant population of the community in Ladakh, West Bengal, Kerala, Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, and of course Assam, as mentioned by Hemanta. Similarly, Christians are certainly in majority in Mizoram, Nagaland, Meghalaya, and there is a significant population in Arunachal Pradesh, Goa, Kerala, Manipur, Tamil Nadu, and West Bengal. Yet the entire community across the India is treated as a minority. Whenever a democracy like India is faced with such baffling questions, we usually turn towards the constitution, a holy grail for the answers. However, viewers may be surprised to note that the constitution actually conceives minority as an open category to protect the interests of various religious, linguistic, and culturally distinctive groups. It is nowhere explicitly mentioned that Muslims, Christians, etc. are the minorities. In the aftermath of the Babri Masjid case, Congress played its appeasement politics and the National Commission of Minorities Act 1992 was brought in. To not make it obvious which community was being serenaded by the Congress, Section 2C of the National Commission for Minorities Act 1992 granted minority status to 5 communities: Muslims, Christians, Sikhs, Buddhists, and Parsis based on their national population. However, even the 1992 law does not define the term religious minority. Instead, it is the central government that is empowered to notify a few communities as minority for the purpose of this act. Moreover, granting minority and majority status based on the national population is a lazy and bummed approach as established earlier through the figures suggesting Hindus are minorities in dozens of states. And yet, here we stand. Muslim will still be categorized minority in Assam and reap the rewards of different government schemes. Christians in Mizoram will continue to be pampered despite the Hindus and their dwindling population requiring urgent attention. Just the way the definition of secularism has been diluted in India, the word minority has been exclusively used to denote the Muslims. The minority commissions that exist on national and state levels are often found exclusively pandering and cuffing funds for the Muslims. Other minorities such as Jains, Parsis, and even Sikhs are meted a step-brotherly treatment. Now consider this as an example. A Jain may be lynched, but the news may not make the airwaves. However, the moment a Muslim is lynched, every single authority and body gets into an overdrive mode. This is the kind of mollycoddling towards the Muslim community by political and bureaucratic institutions that had led to the belief that Muslims are a minority throughout India. Those who follow Hinduism, Judaism, and Baha'ism are minorities in regions like Ladakh, Mizoram, Lakshadweep, Kashmir, Meghalaya, Nagaland, Arunachal Pradesh, Punjab, and Manipur. However, they cannot establish and administer educational institutes of their choice because of the non identification of minority at the state level, thus jeopardizing their basic rights guaranteed under Article 29 and 30. Up until last year, Lakshadweep, a Muslim dominated union territory, had Fridays, the day of Jummah, as a holiday, instead of the usual Sundays. No one batted an eye. However, the moment the secular government overturned the decision, the minority majority population of Lakshadweep started feeling threatened. Currently, minority is a candy that is distributed to the non-Hindu population by politicians to ensure their proverbial vote banks are filled to the brim. The Centre and the Supreme Court should intervene and ensure that minorities are identified at the state level, not at the national level. It is indeed a surprise that decades have passed and yet the country has not been able to produce a cogent and cohesive definition of what constitutes a minority.